So let me start with a little bit of a background. With the urbanization, the rapid urbanization, especially in the metros, which has been happening over last so many years, 10, 15 years, even more, the number of cars have increased a lot. In fact, the roads also, in the last panel discussion, many panel discussion discussed the road traffic, everything has increased, the stress levels have increased. But I would like to believe even the stress levels, finding a parking place for the car is even more than actually driving on the metro cities, right? So the kind of urban, there's a laundry list of why things have happened, urbanization. But over a period of time, the parking has evolved a lot. So let me start with Madam Vijaya. Like, as an architect, like what used to be designed some 20 years back, we just looked at the building, so many apartments, residential, so many commercial, maybe some parking places inside, outside. But now how do you look at the evolution happening in the last 15 years? If you can take a time frame of 15 years, what is the evolution which has happened from the architect's point of view?
So across years, we've seen, I've been in the profession for about 28 years now. So I have seen a sea change in the way the building has evolved. I would say that, it actually evolved for better, I would say, because earlier parking was an afterthought, but now people, we actually plan it much before. While the guidelines are one part of it, every family, even if they're a family of two, they have two cars. Basically the bylaws don't mandate that. So
Correct.
We always keep in mind, and few of the builders, in fact, I was talking to Mr. Sharma also, we worked with Shobha very, intensively over Infosys campuses and all. And, the thing is that we also have a practical angle to it. That is one part of it. The other part of it is also about the sustainability and water table part of it. We all talk about, the things which are very obvious, like, number of cars and number of parking. But if you see the sustainable part of it, if we start going on basement 1, 2, 3, it's not a good option because, it interferes with the aquifers of the land and things like that. And why do you think so much of flooding happened recently in Bangalore? If you just go back to the root cause, there is something which, you'll be wondering how come parking is being interlinked to the, water flooding issue. But, there are these kind of things which are not very obvious. So while we start a project, we actually study all this. Once we get the soil report, we get into, deep dive into the water table issues and all that. And now I have a face to the thing. We have used your parking systems a lot, sir. Basically in Capital Land, and we've used for Godrej properties, and it's really nice. So I think even the parking systems have evolved, and the whole exhibition is a testament for that. So also technology, we kind of understand that by coming to these kind of sessions and understand what is available for us. And that's how we integrate that, marry the technology with our design, and have a head start to our design.
Okay, great. So actually, I also come from an elevator industry, and I believe what elevator industry was 20 years ago, it is also evolved. But parking is still around 15 years behind the elevator industry from the evolution point of view. Like, if you remember those days, 25 years back, you used to have automatic door, collapsible gauge, automatic door. They changed it to the automatic door. Parking from those stack parking levels, which actually were the introduction of parking when people were, one family started buying 2 cars, then they had stack parking, then it started evolving into all that. So I think it is still 15 years behind the elevator. But having said that, during this evolution, I would like to, the parking manufacturers who are there, during the evolution, how did you find the evolution happening when you entered the parking industry? Did it evolve? Was it kind of a challenging to what you have reached now. Today we have quite a reasonable amount of auto parking system, but I would say still a long way to go. What was the evolution which was happening from a manufacturer's point of view? I think, let me start with Girish sir.
You rightly said the problem what elevator industry was facing maybe 20 years back, today the car parking industry is facing. We always say, I mean, I represent the company which manufactures mechanized car parking systems. And mechanized car parking system, we always say that we don't sell the product, but we sell solutions. So if any architects or any developers, if they are planning to multiply their parkings by using mechanized car parking system, then it has to be planned when it is at the building is at the conceptual stage. And mechanized car parking cannot be afterthought. So it really involves the involvement of mainly architects and planners right from the beginning. And that was really a challenge for us when we started this company. If you look at the grid of the commercial building, today we see it's 7.5 meter. But why 7.5 meter? 7.5 meter because conventional car park needs 2.5 meter width. Accordingly it is. But now if you want to go with mechanized car park, it has to be increased to 8 meters or 8.2 meters. So I really feel that if you want to go with and again mechanized car park is the future. As we were listening to Mr. Sharma just now, the government is increasing the FSI, the new rules are in place, the cars are increasing on the road. So you need to go with mechanized car park, but when you are going for mechanized car park, you have to give a proper solution. Otherwise, it's a nightmare.
Absolutely.
It's a nightmare. I have seen sometimes it's painful for me when people say it's difficult to park on the mechanized car park. The conventional car park is good. Of course, I always say best way to park your car is conventional car park. But when you can't go with conventional car, you should involve us. So it's proper planning is very important for the mechanized car park. That's what.
As you said, Uday, the whole concept, I think, when it started, was on just providing a certain number of car parks. I mean, that was the basic idea. So let's say somebody had a plot of 1,000 square meters, and you started providing. First, it was surface parking. You probably park 30, 35 cars, and then the developer said, "No, I want to use the space better." And so then it started with stackers, which probably would double the number of car parks. But as the requirement increased, and as the land prices also increased, increased, I think there was a need felt to optimize the space and give the best experience to the end customer, because it was no more about just providing a car spot, but also how easily an end user is able to park his car, retrieve his car. All those, I think, has come into the picture a lot more in the last few years. I think also we as manufacturers have also, I think, tried to reach out to developers, to architects, and also, expos like these are also forums where we can showcase the new products which are available. I think that's also a responsibility which we take, so that opens the possibility to developers to evolve and build these new products into the parking systems which is getting planned for any of their development. So I think that is why this has evolved from just moving to a basic mechanical parking to a highly automated parking where you go vertically higher, you're faster, the whole experience for the user experience becomes much better. and the entire space is utilized well, and it gives value both to the developer as well as the end user.
One big change that I have noticed in the last a decade and a half being in this industry is the focus has shifted from just providing number of cars to achieve the bylaws or to hit the bylaws numbers to providing convenience to the end user. We are seeing that shift slowly from the developers and the architects. The acceptance levels is relatively high as what it used to be a decade back. One. The second big thing that I'm seeing change is the end users are practically actually using cars. Maybe a decade and a half or 20 years back, suburban part of the city used to have like one car per family or maybe one car between two families. Today, practically any suburban city, be it Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi, you practically have one car per bedroom. So the demand has gone higher, and so has this need to provide more convenience to the end user, and the developers and the architects have been open enough to plan a building in line with the modern technologies and with the mechanized car parking systems with the end goal of providing convenience to the end user. There's still a lot of journey to be traveled, but that's what I've seen in the last 10 years happening. The acceptance of the car parking system and the designing of the building has increased a lot more to make it car parking friendly, and parking has become an integral part of the building, not just like an afterthought.
I used to be involved with many developers, in Mumbai, and when I used to, at the planning stage, when we used to develop a shopping mall, any kind of a commercial complex, one of the very typical mindset was, how much are we going to earn out of providing parking places? That means the parking places was more of a commercial decision. So many parking places, so much revenue coming into the part of a project, and used to add a lot to the value. That was a mindset, I think, around 10, 15 years back. Is that changing now? When you are sitting with a developer, when you're planning his project or her project, is it changing that mindset of making parking a business model rather than the convenience, like all these people are saying, oh, it's becoming convenience, lifestyle, and retrieval times becoming, very, very small. People are not waiting in a long queues. Is that changing now today?
No, it depends on the location, basically.
Yeah, we're talking about major metros like Bengaluru or Mumbai and all, when you're shopping.
See, parking, let us say I want to kind of shop in a place. I want convenience, right? Like not always, even if I have a driver, even if today's day and age you have the Ubers and Olas available, going in your own car and having the parking accessible is very, very important. So I feel the value of a property increases if the parking is
Correct.
actually provided well. So that's very, very important.
Okay. Well, any point from your point of view, do you think when you're discussing with customers that changing, because they also talk about per parking place so much value, and they calculate it that way. Is that still there or not there?
I think those conversations have reduced to a large extent, I feel.
Okay.
It still happens, I think, in certain maybe locations where the per square feet rates are still not, are lower, or the ability of the end customer to pay for a parking spot is low. But overall, I think today that doesn't come so much in terms of, because see, first of all, the developer knows that he has to provide so many parking slots. It's mandatory. Or if it is a shopping mall or something and it doesn't provide parking, people won't come there. So he's got a larger business interest to take care of rather than to monetize the parking.
So they're no more a major.
I don't think so. Yeah.
That's good. Okay, let me come to the role of the government, which I am aware of. Maybe I'm not aware of the other states. In Mumbai Municipal Corporation, they have got 1 bedroom, 1 parking, 2 bedrooms, 1.5 parking. That's how the calculation is made. And so when the drawings are submitted at the time of IOD, which is 3 years before the project actually comes up, the complete parking drawing has to be submitted. So it's a rule. But there is no other rule, in my understanding, anywhere in the country, especially in metro cities, on the guidelines of how to parking systems are there. What I understand later, there's a draft in BIS which is being drafted out based on certain amount of data, but still not approved. So what is the pressure from the developer side, from the architect side in pushing this, I would say, discipline in setting up the rules, and what is the pressure from the manufacturer side? Are you all working on any common platform with the architects, with the developers in making some common rules?
So when you mentioned that, there's still a draft that is there at the BIS, the draft itself is too late. The need for parking, in my opinion, and the
Yeah,
compliance.
you've gone much ahead.
Yeah,
Correct.
the need for parking has gone much ahead. The technology is moving much faster than the need for the draft or the need for the rules. Having said that, there are certain policies at government that have helped us in making at least the numbers mandatory. But obviously, today when we sit with the developers, we tell them that designing a parking, thinking the building's lifespan is 25 years, 30 years. You design a parking for a person who will be a person would change 4 or 5 cars in 25 years. On an average. So a person would always look to upgrade his or her car, when you change your car. Don't think about today and design your project. Think about 25, 30 years of the lifespan of the building when you design, and design them for future. Like 10 years back, we never thought EVs would be in so many numbers. So it's also important that, when we as manufacturers, when we design something, it is retrofittable. So if we design something, a new technology, it has to be retrofittable to a system that is designed 10 years back. So the onus is on us as well. But yes, I agree to it.
I think, today, I think one of the challenges which everybody faces, and I think manufacturers as well as the government and developers, is it's a little difficult. We can't just define the parking standards based on today's, outlook. We really have to think 10, 15 years, 20 years down the line. Because like Uday, you said today, you're looking at 1 bedroom or 2 bedrooms, 1 parking in Mumbai. Now, we don't know what it is going to be later, right?
Yeah.
Also, the whole mix has changed. So earlier it used to be sedans on the road, probably 90% were sedans, 10% SUVs. And now it's probably gone to 65, 70% of SUVs and maybe 30, 35% of sedans. So the parking requirements, the space you provide, all that has also undergone a significant change. So I think these also, so whenever any parking guidelines are framed, it is not only about the number of car parks, it's about the driveway, because there are also, we find the challenges that a few projects, you don't have a required driveway available. No, I have water, thanks. There is no required driveway available. So these are, and then finally, if as a manufacturer we provide a parking solution, the end user thinks that, it's, it's our name, and then, we are responsible for that. So it's about the entire, ecosystem of providing, looking at the mix of the cars, looking at the entries, looking at the exits, and the retrieval times, the time which is taken for you to park your car. I think all this needs to be, there to be a comprehensive statement document to cover all these.
I feel few things regarding mechanized car parking systems must be made mandatory in the National Building
Correct.
Code.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah, that is very important. First of all, safety. Safety is very important. As I have seen, there are no safety norms for the mechanized car parking systems in India. My company alone has installed more than 200,000 car parking systems pan-India. But today, there is no safety norms for car parking. That has to be imposed. And because we have a system with pit, we have a system 70 meter tall. So those things has to be, and as you very rightly said, that this system is installed, it should be user friendly. So few norms as far as and where architects and we can work together as far as the driveway is concerned. That is very important. So that has to come in the bylaws. The weight of the car. We should think about next 25 years. The cars are getting
Yeah, they're
heavier.
increasing in weight,
Cars
yeah.
are getting taller. So those things must be put in some format somewhere if you are planning for mechanized car parking system. Otherwise, end of the day,
Yeah, but actually
they'll
the
be
wish-
resistant from the...
That's a wish list. But my question was, is there something happening in the industry where platform is being formed between the architects, between the developers, between the manufacturers to come towards what you're saying is a necessary. It was, as he said, it should have been done 5-8 years back minimum. But today, has that started? Other than the BIS, what I heard of as a draft, nothing I have heard of which is there. Some platform has come in, and in fact, if you go, at least I do a little bit of consultancy on this. You go there, the level of understanding on the parking system at all levels is quite, I would say, not to the level safeties especially. They don't. Okay, the manufacturers. A good thing is they come up with their safety standards and are incorporated in the specification. But end of the day, the rules or common platform, is that happening? Is there some kind of an initiative taken, like things like CREDAI and as Manufacturers Association? Is that happening or not happening? And if not, do you plan to kind of initiate that? Well, very important.
No, it's not happening, but I very strongly suggest the manufacturer, architects or the CREDAI,
CREDAI, yes,
such
yes.
organization
Correct.
should take this matter to the government level. It's very, very important.
Okay, let me start again on a question. When you are actually evolving this parking manufacturing system, there are a lot of integration from the like RFID card examples or automation. So what was your experience while you did that? One from the technology point of view and the other from you selling the technology and making the buyers understand the importance of that. Because today I believe, like as a normal common man, I'm not well versed with what's happening. Like there is one project in Mumbai, L&T, L&T has built at Parel. There, people do not understand they have a parking system, but how do I go about it? What do I do it? That education level is very small. So what is it from first part is, did you find any kind of a challenge during manufacturing? And later on when you are talking to customers, was the challenge?
So yes, so when we incorporate or create any such technology, usability or practical usability is at the core of it. While I'm not denying it that it takes some training getting used to a car parking system, which also includes parking your car into a car parking system. It takes some training, but from a user friendliness, we are working day in, day out. Like Girish sir said, the cars are getting broader, wider, taller. We are also designing systems which can take heavier cars, which enable easy parking. Technologies like RFID, they obviously help ease the parking, the entire experience of parking, the time taken. There is IoT and technologies like IoT and AI, which I guess everyone is working on now, which are increasing the user experience. So at the end of day, developing technology to enable the user friendliness of the system is something that is there, and practical usability has to increase of the system. So that's the core thought behind developing any technology in the system.
Yeah, so I think the whole concept starts with making parking easier, right, for a person who's coming to park the car. And it's also built in because today the parking systems are becoming bigger. So earlier maybe it was a 50 car park, 100 car park. Now it's like 300, 400 car parks in one single location. I think one of the biggest challenges which the end user faces is where does he find the car park? Within, if you have a car park of 300 spots, where do you actually park your car? So we've come up with what we call a parking management system. So besides the parking system being fully integrated and built to suit all the new technologies, the parking management system actually enables the person to, as soon as he enters the the complex, to go to the location where the a spot is available, or a lift is available for him or her to park the car inside. So it saves the whole process of trying to locate where to park the car. And similarly, when you want to retrieve the car, when you flash your RFID card, by the time the person reaches the lift or the parking spot, the car is down already. So it saves a lot of time, it saves a lot of effort in locating this. So these are some of the things which we constantly using. We're using IoT also to make systems more reliable, less breakdowns. In case of a breakdown, how do you remotely rectify it? Try to predict breakdown so that to prevent it from happening, and of course making the parking experience much easier.
Udayji, as I mentioned in the beginning, we are not equipment supplier, we are solution supplier.
Correct.
Look, every day we get new requests from the customer regarding automation, as you said, RFID, remote, everything. But there is a difference between the conventional car park and the mechanized car park. In mechanized car park, there are so many moving parts. A heavy car is above 2.6 meter. It can fall down anything. So we always give this latest technology, but keeping safety into mind. For example, if we have the remote control, but for remote control, you have to be 10 feet away from the your parking system. You cannot be in the elevator and give remote control. No, you have to be 10 feet away. RFID, you have to go and swap it next to this thing. We get so many fancy ideas. The customers in Mumbai, they are saying, we have an app. They said, when I will leave my office, I should be able to call the car parking system. We said, please do not go. I mean, if you get a call from your boss, you go back, the car park will come up and it will standard others. And why I said the planning is important. We have the biggest car parking installation in India installed in BKC, Mumbai for 1,200 cars. Uday, morning between 7 to 9 or 7 to 10, there is an inflow of roughly 800 to 900 cars.
Big time.
But when we planned it, we planned that we have a 16 transfer areas. So how to minimize the queuing? That is also very important.
Correct.
See, all this modernization, automation is possible. But you should consider all these things when you will implement this. That's why I said it is not the product selling, it's the solution selling. Again, I am saying, because every project is different. Every project is there. We have provided 16 transfer area, so there is almost minimum queuing. So these things are all the developers should understand. You have to have some patience. It is not zero waiting time. There will be some queuing, but plan properly when you go with new automation in mechanized car park.
So taking from what Girish sir said, Madam Vijaya, when you're on the drawing board, he said solution kind of selling. So obviously I conclude when you're on the drawing board, that's a time you need to involve the parking specialist, whether it's a manufacturer or whoever it is. So does that actually happen or it does not happen? When you're on because if you don't put it on the drawing board and look at what is to be planned, how it is to be planned, where it is to be planned, then that solution of having the right optimum number of parts, that will, I assume, will not, would not happen.
No, it actually happens.
It is happening now, which is actually good news.
See, there are 2-3 varieties of projects. One is a blank sheet of paper and people ask you to, develop on it. That may be, initially we start planning the concepts on your master planning, and then the next level comes to, the parking requirements. As we speak, we are working on a development of a corporate campus where already people are working there. Now, since the FAR regulations have changed and requirements have changed, we are now working on densifying that whole place. But having said that, the first problem is how to decongest the parking. So
Correct.
now the design start point has become parking. And it just so happened as if, I'm just talking on that and this whole thing is happening. So
Sure.
maybe
So that's a good
I'll
news,
reach
actually.
out to them. Yeah.
So it's a good news for the manufacturer. They will get involved right in the initial
Absolutely.
stages of
So
planning. That's
and
absolutely.
incidentally, I was researching parking systems for a while and realized there are only few things available in India. Otherwise, there are so many other parking systems available abroad, and I was just wondering why it is not coming to India, or the same manufacturers who are supplying, but always we've seen only the double park or a triple park at the most, but not really that vertical stacking kind of a thing. And so why is it? I mean, is there any issue why we are not able to do? Because those kind of solutions can actually address our problem.
So which is actually a good news.
Yeah.
But having said that, let me come to you, Anthony. You were a part of the elevator industry at one point of time, and taking safety. In fact, Girish sir was always talking about safety of any product, whether it is parking or elevator. Safety is a prime important. And today's life is, people are considering safety as prime, and awareness is being created. I was a part of, with you, working on changing the manual doors to automatic doors because of the unsafe act people used to commit in a collapsible gate, so many other factors. We don't go through that. How do you think it is going to happen, stack versus the automated parkings? So do you have any kind of a vision on that? And today I believe stack is around 60% of the total parking, this thing? Coming down. Okay, so let's say today we are in 2026, 2030, what would be your figure if you talk about numbers according to you, and why? And just one line on why it would happen.
I think first of all, why stack is because I think a lot of the architects and developers are not probably aware of the many solutions which are available. Number one. Number two is that they are not involving the manufacturers at an early stage. I mean, that is what we have been trying to do more and more, that involve us, because it's not only about parking, it's also about the traffic flow. Like he said, in BKC, in the complex, you have people coming in from, let's say, 8 to 9, all the people are coming in and all the people are moving out at 5 o'clock. While it could be different in a shopping mall, correct, where continuously people are coming in and going out. In a theater, it could be even different. So I think it's about studying that also, and then showing the possibility of what the, what are the various solutions available, number one. Number two, showing to the developer that, look, a stacker is probably the most inefficient way of doing the parking system. Like, I'll give you an example. Let us say that, I'll give you the same example, 1,000 square meter of area you have. If you have it on the ground, you park about 30-35 cars. If you have a stack, you park 70 cars. Now, if you go to a tower, you will probably be able to park 7 to 8 times the number of cars what you can park, as you go vertically higher. So you're using that area in such a better manner, correct? And today with the land rates in our country and the kind of parking, the amount of money people are paying for parking, I think it is worth from a safety perspective, it is worth from a convenience perspective. I think it will also happen, the end users will also push, saying that, look, I don't want this, this dependent system. Stack is finally a dependent system, right? You put if you have to retrieve your second car, you have to remove the first car, then retrieve the second car. So it's a dependent system. It's time consuming. You need a valet, always available. Otherwise, how do you do this, correct? So, I mean, these are not things, over a period of time, the valet concept will go away. Nobody will be able to afford valets. While like we have got systems where, there are 500 car parks with 6 or 7 lifters. The person just comes in, parks the car into the lift and just walks out.
Correct.
It's very convenient rather than, and also today what's happening is that with the space constraint, it is actually difficult. You can park your car in the stacker, but getting out is quite a challenge actually.
Yeah.
If you don't park it properly. So I think these are the things which will force, the industry will evolve, developers will hear us more, and I think they are also ready to change. They also want to give value to the end customer, correct? I think it's our responsibility, and madam, there are so many varieties now available. It's actually, we've changed the whole concept of in terms of the parking. There are towers available, varieties of towers available. We can go up to 100 meters height today in parking. So the options are huge, you know, today. Yeah.
Okay, last question, in fact, to all of you all. Today, quality of life is changing. Like in the previous panel we saw, everyone is giving the best of the product inside the house, outside, garden, swimming pool, and even elevators. Like earlier we had a pre-lunch session of the elevator manufacturer, where they say they have become digital, automated, they can see some things which makes things interesting inside the car. Otherwise, once upon a time, going from top to bottom, that was just going, that was a part of it. But today it's making it interesting. So from parking angle, as the automated parking system, assume that we are going ahead with automated parking system, what would be your vision towards giving the best to the industry, to the buyers, the final buyers of the flat in case of residential, and maybe the offices in case of commercial? What will be your vision from the parking angle? What do you think should be the product? Should it look at? And how much time do you think it should happen? We'll start with Girish sir, you, and then finally I think we will end up with Madam Architect. What is her, from the architectural point of view, what is the vision it needs to give us Indian consumers? Parking angle, I'm talking about, because everything is best today. People are getting, they mentioned that also, and it is true. You are getting the best inside the house, outside the house. Once upon a time it was never outside the house. Now it is inside and outside, but parking system is not somewhere nearby. So what is your vision on this subject or this question?
Uday, our vision is to minimize the no parking boards in the city. Believe me, you cannot force people that don't park here or don't bring cars. This is a no traffic zone today or something like that. Make provision for the parking. Like we are working with different states in India for public parking. Mumbai, we are doing one
Mumbai
pilot
especially.
project in
Controlled by the municipal corporation, correct.
there. Today, they are parking 40 cars on the ground. We are converting to 210 cars below the ground, and we are making a cafe on the street. So, and number two, we want to educate our developer friends, architects, the government authorities. As a 75 years old manufacturer and having global experience, how other countries solve their problems, parking problems, and how to make mechanized car parking user friendly. Because this is like elevator. Once this mechanized car parking system is fixed to your project, it will remain for 25, 30 years minimum. So it has to be user friendly, and that is our mission vision.
You know, I think today when somebody goes out of, you know, when they go out, want to go for a movie, or when they want to go out for dinner with family or friends, the first thought is, where will I get parking, correct?
Absolutely.
So
that's the stress.
That's the biggest stress.
Yeah.
So apparently, I mean, this is a study which was done that in urban areas, 15 to 20 minutes are spent just searching for parking. That's a typical, time taken. And this is leading to waste of time, it's fuel and pollution, correct? I mean, and of course, traffic on the roads. So I think simple terms, we have to, that fear, if it goes away, that okay, you are able to go out, you are able to get a good parking location, and your vehicle is safe. And also today, I think that's the number one, vision that we have, that when you move out, there are enough parking spaces available. Your car will be parked safely. You will be able to retrieve and park it easily. Number one. Number two, I think today, there's still a concept that surface parking. Many people still prefer surface parking. Of course, it's a very viable solution when you have enough land available. But you also find that ramps are being constructed, 6-level, 7-level podium parking, and it's quite difficult if you have to park your car on the 6th floor or the 7th floor, going round and round the ramp. I mean, it makes it so much easier to have um, you know, automated car parking in such a situation. So also change the mindset for a greater acceptance of, because this is the solution and this is the way forward. So I think these are this is the vision what we would have.
It's the same. I guess this is the vision of the industry, that to create convenience for the end user who is actually using the car parking system. That's like the common vision I guess all three of us share. So yes, I resonate with both of them on this thought. Nothing more to add.
Yeah, I think your thing will be very, very important, because architects create a vision for all of us from the building angle. So what do you think is a vision from the parking aspect?
Yeah, so
especially?
first of all, actually, these kind of knowledge share sessions between the manufacturers and designers, while we have, transport consultants and all that, we have some idea of, let's say, aircon, electrical, firefighting, which we integrate. Whereas, like how you said, like in my recent project, we started off with the parking as a first point because of the, land not being available, and the project won't be feasible if we do not take care of the parking requirements.
Correct.
Right? So that became our start point. So having said that, I feel that, science can take care of a lot of problems, I feel. Because as we understand, we can't control the number of cars coming on the road. We can't control the requirements, and we know that land is, we don't really have too much of luxury of land, especially in these cities. So if I were to just dream a little big, let's say driverless car, it drops me at the entrance of my office or home. It just goes, and everything is app based. If it is related to the Google, and if you can integrate the technology, so then as long as it is an automated board, we need not worry, right? All of us have a problem with time, right? So we can't spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So just imagine me going to an office right on time, leaving my car there, depending on technology and not people. It just goes, gets parked into this thing, integrated with your software. You know exactly where it is. The moment you are coming in, right out, you know exactly the time it takes, and a switch of a button, your car is there for you to take. Maybe that's something which I
maybe
dream
what
of.
you're saying is combine discipline with technology, and
Yes.
try to work out a way around it. Having said this, because many of us are always having the problem on this parking system. So do you have any question for the panel on parking angle? So any questions there? Yes.
Thank you. It was an eye-opener discussion, and it's blessings for all of us to listen from the legendary people. I have two questions, and both the questions, Vijaya ma'am and Udayji, if you can answer these questions. Like, as we see that day by day EV cars are increasing on Indian roads, I'm sure when you sit with your developers, with your builders, I'm sure that questions are coming to you. What are your solutions for the EV cars? How you are going to integrate the EV chargings in multi-level car parking systems? As a manufacturer, as I also belong from IRR Parkon, we are trying our best to go to the government and get their approvals to initiate this process, give the permission to integrate the EV chargings in car parking systems. But we are facing lots of challenges. So I want to ask whether you people are also working on the same, because I'm sure in future, like 5-6 years, number of EV cars will be very much on the Indian roads. Second question is, like, still as we Girish sir told, Anthony sir told, Nakul bhai told that we are planning for bigger, broader, taller cars. But still we have seen that architects are following the government norms. That is, one of the norm is like to provide 2.3 by 4.5 meters dimensions for smaller cars. See, these dimensions were pretty okay 10, 12, 15 years ago. But now when we are looking for future of the parking, all cars are becoming taller, lengthier and wider. So at least we should plan some strategy to speak with government officials to eliminate this dimension at least. 2.3 by 4.5, it is non-practical in today's scenario. So just want to ask whether if you people are also facing the same challenge, And if you are doing something with the government officials on this part. Thank you.
My first answer was on that. While there are norms which basically is a base guideline, whether it's for the number of cars or the size of the cars, we are going by the practical aspects of things. Mostly, I mean, my practice deals with builders like Shobha, Prestige, and corporates like Infosys, Wipro. So we are not really doing things to just tick box things. It's a user experience which is very, very important for us. So to answer your question, no, the size of that is not 2.3 by 4. We have very broad, dimensions. And if you look at it, even Shobha's Mall, that meter cube, you should see, it's a pleasure to walk into that parking lot. In fact, the floor there is much better than maybe even the best, hospitality lobby floor, I would say. So it's all about experience. I mean, if you try cutting corners, then obviously the experience won't be good. And finally, it will also affect the marketability of that building or the builder, or even these days, even people don't want to work in offices where the parking is not okay. I mean, for example, we work a lot with CRED. I'm sure you all know CRED. So they don't have a very large office. They have the smaller offices on a very busy area. So the people refuse to come to office. So they had to make a HR policy of having a valet parking available for all their employees.
Correct.
So just imagine how parking is affecting people's, coming back to office and also productivity of the office. So it might be, the importance of parking cannot be undermined. So that's the answer for you.
Valet parking is being used as one of the solutions, which is probably under the condition, depending on where the location is, rightly mentioned earlier.
Whereas now the new office, he supplied the parking thing for the Godrej properties. Now they moved to that.
Yeah,
So
but
that's
everyone looks at that best experience you mentioned, which is there in Shobha. Something, I don't know when it is going to come into our country, at least in some of the major cities, but I hope it comes soon and we have that luxury lifestyle.
Are you facing any challenge while in the drawing stage regarding rules with the Directorate of Fire Services?
Let me come back to this. While the rules are dictated by NBC, there are even stringent norms for fire, especially when we are working in places like Delhi and Calcutta. They're even more stringent. So fire being a safety norm, that we can never flout. And it is just not for example, on sustainability points, you just do something, some jugaad, and then you get 1 point here and make your building platinum, which doesn't affect anything too much, But whereas when it comes to safety, security, things like fire, we just go by the book.
Good evening. My name is Krishna Kumar. I'm an elevator consultant. I have a very rudimentary question. We have modernization in elevators. Do we have modernization in car parking? For instance, I have a system that is about 20 years old. Will I be able to upgrade it? Changing is, of course, I change it with the same system, but do I have the possibility of upgrading it to the next possible?
Typically, I think most of the manufacturers don't do a modernization. I think it's also, it was not a very standardized industry. So while today we are talking about more standardization, especially systems which are much older, probably 15, 20 years old, would be something very, unique, made for that particular, area available, plot size available and all. And that is why I think generally, we don't go for modernization. We would prefer to do a complete replacement, because I think it's just, whatever few cases we have found, it's been where the driveways are not enough, or the car spaces are, the customer already has a major problem with the existing system, and that is why he's going for a modernization, not just because the system has become old. So generally, we don't, as an industry, I don't think it's really evolved as such to do a partial modernization. I think we still talk about a full replacement.
Look, when you said we started our Indian operation 20 years back. So 20 years back, the car sizes were different, the weight of cars were different. That time we used to sell plan for 80% sedan and 20% SUV. Now the days have changed. Today 80% are SUV and 20% are sedan.
Thank you, sir. Precisely that is what I wanted to ask. Thank you.
We are there.
Cost of parking system will be more than the cost of elevators which will be provided
More
in
than
that
elevators,
complex.
okay. More than
I think, Nitin, in most of the buildings it's already happened.
Oh, okay.
In most of the buildings today, especially if you go for, let's say, typically a building which is, I'll give you an example of Mumbai. It's a redeveloped building. You have, let's say, 50 cars, parking, multi-level car parking, and if you have, let's say, 2 or 3 lifts, and you have a tower parking for 50 cars, the parking systems are already more, the budget of the parking system is already more than the elevator systems, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
thank
right.
you.
If the floor space is much lesser, parking will be more than the elevator. Elevators will be just 3 or 4, right?
I just want to add KK, your point. Okay, what we also on the modernization, we also do modernization of our own equipment. Of course, we do to
Replacement.
upgrade the, introduce RFIDs or change the wirings, increase the capacities if possible. But what we don't do is other systems where we don't do the modernization of that. So just to clarify on that point.
So I thank you everybody for the participation. Thank you Virgo for giving me a platform. In fact, I think Virgo first time they had a parking lounge in your normal exhibitions, which was Anita and her team has done that. In fact, there was a request from Girish sir in the past, so why don't you make exhibition now exclusively for parking system? Because that's, I think, more than getting a government platform, this will help us in making the evolution much faster. Right? With this, from my side, that's true.
Thank you. Thank you so much to everybody who's with us on stage, all our eminent speakers. And of course to Udayji, I think he's been of great support and great enthusiasm from his end and passion to make this panel discussion happen today. So thank you so much, sir, for that.